Okay, we're live.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you. I'm glad that you're here to join us today for our program on hurricane preparedness, preparing yourself as well as others to get out of town if we have to go. And those of you who have been around Savannah for a while know that we have on occasion been told to go, and some people do and some people don't. My hope is that you will. If they tell you to get out of town, that you take off and go. And we're going to talk about how you do all that today. In your hand, you have a copy of a CEMA booklet that they have updated, and it's pretty much hot off the press this year, that the Chatham Emergency Management Group has put together. And I'm kind of just going to walk you through this booklet because it has a lot of good information in there for you and information that you can share with others. Also, it is available online. I'm going to have a conversation with them about aging and eyesight. They try to put a lot of pretty color in here, but sometimes a pretty colored background with black print just doesn't show up very well. So I want to talk to them about paying attention to some of that. This navy with green print's a little hard to read, but if you go online, they've got the same thing there. And when you're online, you certainly can blow the screen up a little bit so that you can see a little better. But you have a whole copy of it right here. So in that email, that website is on the back. Down at the bottom, there are website information there for you on these. Okay, if you will open that book, immediately you will see a table of contents, and that tells you everything that they're going to talk about in the booklet. So if you need a guide to help you find some particular topic, it's right there. So they made that convenient for you. And they start out in the first several pages that are there, they start defining things like hurricanes and tornadoes and kinds of stuff that you probably are very familiar with. And I will not spend a lot of time repeating what's there, but just know that it is in the book. But I do want you then to turn to pages 8 and 9, and the pages are down in the bottom, and they're kind of hard to see too, but they're there. This one talks about a kit, your hurricane preparedness kit. How many of you have a kit put together that you would take with you when it, okay, good. Some of you do, good. Some of you don't. Take a good close look at this page. It tells you the kinds of things that CEMA suggests that you take with you if you are asked to evacuate. Some of the things you need to have together, even if you stay at home, in case you lose power. You know, what kinds of food do you have there? How much water do you have per person, so that you can manipulate while you're at home, even if the power is out, but you don't have to evacuate. So creating your own emergency kit is very important. And if you have one right now, it's a good time to take a look at it and see if everything in it is still viable. Sometimes if you have a sterno burner in there, it might have dried up on you. So you might need to check and just make sure that it works. If you've got batteries in there, are the batteries still good? You need to replace those and get them ready. So even if you have one, check it out and make sure that it's going to be usable for you. So get your kit ready. This next part is really important, that you have a plan. What are you going to do if you get the call to evacuate? Now, particularly if you're living in a household where you've got children and you've got pets and you've got to decide which car are we going to take, all that sort of stuff, you need to sit down with your family and create your plan and make sure everyone knows what that plan is. You might take more than one car. Maybe you're driving 3 cars. What happens if you get separated in your journey out of town? Where is the point that you will meet up so that you can kind of reconnect again? So this talks to you about creating that plan so that everybody knows when, where, how we're going to get there, and all those kinds of things. So that one's also important for you. And particularly if you have younger children, you need to know what you're going to do with them, how you're going to get them there, all that kind of thing. Okay. Insurance. I'm not going to have some conversations about insurance that's taken here. I'm not going to tell you which insurance company to use. I hope at this point that you have your homeowner's insurance, that you've got renter insurance if that's applicable to you, that you have flood insurance if that's applicable to you. Now, some of us live in non-flood plains, but you can talk to James Cubbage here and he'll tell you why he bought flood insurance anyway. If you've been in West Texas, never expecting the kind of flood they just got, how prepared can I be with my insurance? And when you're looking at flood insurance, you've got to get it out there ahead of the flood. If they tell you today it's going to flood Friday, it's too late to buy flood insurance. You've got to have, what is it, James, 30 days out, I think about 30 days before you need it for it to be effective. So, homeowners, renters, flood, liability insurance. If you haven't tied down your outside lawn furniture or haven't brought it in, and the only thing that happens in your neighborhood is that your patio umbrella takes a flight through the air and breaks a picture window across the street, what's your liability for something that's damaged because of property that belongs to you? So ask all those questions. Health insurance is really important. The possibility of being injured in an evacuation is pretty good. There'll be a lot of cars on the road. There will be car accidents. You might be trying to grill out and there's an explosion. I don't want to get really grim on all this kind of stuff, but you just really need to be prepared knowing that you've got the health insurance that will travel with you, and you know which emergency rooms you can go to and urgent cares, and what's the policy say about the care that you might need to get while you're on the road. And then personal property insurance. Homeowners insurance doesn't always count everything. So we have an addendum to a personal property policy also that covers jewelry, that sort of thing. So you need to make sure you've got the policy you need. Question back there, Peter?
Yeah, under travel and health insurance, there's a couple companies now you can find your own for insurance that when you travel and you get injured, that they will cover the expenses of your family getting back home, whether they need it to be flown or rent a car or whatever like that. They'll take care of your hospitalization wherever you are. And also, if you need to be transported back via ambulance or something like that, we're talking $20,000. They decide to use a helicopter. That's all covered.
If you've got the right policy.
If you get that, I've never heard of it. Well, I heard about it about a year ago.
Okay. What Peter was saying there is that there are some insurance policies, travel policies, health policies that really can be very helpful in covering all your expenses for transporting you back home, either by air or ambulance, helping your family get home. But you really need to have a good, upfront, very clear conversation with your agent and seeing what's written in your policy so that you know what they will take care of if you need it while you're gone. So thank you for that word encouragement, but yes, it's something we need to follow. So insurance is important. Make sure you've got what you need.
AAA. Sure.
For travel, is that in addition to regular AAA membership? Yeah, okay. So she's saying that AAA has a travel policy that you can get to help you with that. Thank you for that too. Okay, those of you who have been in Savannah for a while know that we have evacuation zones. We have zone A, B, and C. A is the area east of Truman Parkway. So that's Tybee Island, Whitmarsh Island, Wilmington Island, Burnside Island, I guess you're in A. B is west of Truman Parkway out to Interstate 95. C is 95 west. Basically, that's your three evacuation zones. If we get asked to evacuate, they will tell you which one goes when. Now, which one do you think they're going to start with? They want to get people off the island. As we all know, there's one road that leads to Tybee Island. And they will say to you, if you plan to stay and not evacuate when asked to, know that once the curfew's on, you will not have any emergency response coming to you. They're going to take care of their employees. They're giving you plenty of warning that you need to get off the island, and they really want you to do that. So they're not going to endanger their people to come out and help you when you've been told for 5 days you really must move. Yes, Aaron?
Carolyn, if I might add,
Sure.
speaking of insurance policies,
Okay.
if you are in an evacuation zone and you've been ordered to evacuate, this is a mandatory evacuation, not an optional one, because there's different levels of evacuation. If you are in a mandatory evacuation zone, your life insurance policy will not pay out if you die and you have not evacuated. So bear that in mind. If you're stubborn, you go, I've lived
Not
this
dead
long,
yet.
I've survived every storm. Just know that your family is going to be on the hook for everything regarding burying you, retrieving your body, all that. Your life insurance will not pay out if you're in a mandatory evacuation zone and you chose not to evacuate.
Okay. What Aaron is saying is that if you're in a mandatory evacuation mode and you decide not to leave, your insurance is not going to pay if you lose your life. Now, let me give you some credentials for Aaron. Aaron is the vice mayor in Cooler. We pay him big bucks to know this kind of stuff out there. So he's given us good information there of what you need to do and how you need to pay attention to that kind of information.
They may not cover you. You'll have to talk to your homeowner's insurance, but a lot of them, if it's a named storm, going back to the getting flood insurance, your house is not going to get covered if you only have homeowners. So let's say you're in a non-flood zone like X, and you don't have flood insurance and your home gets damaged by a hurricane, it's probably not going to be covered. So if you're in a non-required to have flood insurance zone, get flood insurance. It's cheap. You're going to spend less than $500 a year on your flood insurance because it's not required that you get it. So it's going to be very affordable. But again, going back to evacuation orders, if you've been mandatorily evacuated and you decide to stay, you have assumed all the risk. You have given away all the risk from all that money that you've paid into your insurance plan. You've now taken it on yourself to be like, I'll be fine. So just bear that in mind. It's more than just the inconvenience of leaving. You may negate every insurance policy that you have.
So our advice for you today is make an appointment with your agent and go sit down and have a good conversation.
Absolutely.
List of questions, things that you want them to cover with you so that you know where you do stand if you're in a mandatory evacuating mode and you decide that you're going to stay home. Maybe just fine at home, but we don't know. So we want you to be safe. Okay, so those are the zones that we have.
Carolyn,
Yes.
question as a newcomer. Zone B, has Zone B ever been evacuated?
Yes.
Mandatory.
Yes.
Really? Yes.
In 1999, which was my first year in Savannah, coming from Kentucky, we had to evacuate, and I was living in Zone B, and we had to go, and we did.
Did they tell you where to evacuate to?
Well, there are I'm just getting ready to the next part on this,
Gotcha.
where there are routes, and that's on page 17 in your book, and it shows you the major routes that will lead you out of town. We have routes that go north, routes that go south, and routes that go west. Not very many that are going to go east. Okay, unless you want to do some swimming there. Okay, you determine for yourself which route you want to take. They're not going to put you on a route and say you've got to go that way. But one of the things that I would say to you, and I have it in here somewhere, it's in the further on down the program. There is an app for your phone called 511 Georgia. 511 Georgia. If you go to your app store or to the Play Store and plug in 511 Georgia, That app is activated at the time of an evacuation, and you can always go on there and it will tell you what the road conditions are like. If you're headed west, if you're headed south, or whatever. Pay attention where the storm is coming from. If the storm is coming from Florida, don't go south. Okay. If it's headed towards South Carolina, you probably ought to go toward Alabama or someplace. So you want to go away from where the storm is predicted to come and not right smack dab into the storm. But that's a very helpful app, 511 Georgia. And also while I'm at it, I will say to you, download the weather apps from your local TV stations. WTOC has one, WSAB has one. They're out there. Get them on your phone so that you've got those apps and they will give you up-to-date information. Yes, Peter?
Yes, the good thing about the apps are, when you leave town, you're leaving your local radio station, okay? When we had to get out to Floyd, we never knew when to come back because Atlanta didn't publish it, okay? We just happened to call a neighbor and they said, yeah, you all can come back. So you could be staying out there for a couple extra days if you don't know that the conditions change.
Right. So those apps will keep you up to date on all those things about when you can come home too. So very important. We are prepared here, and it was after Hurricane Floyd that the county, state, whatever, instituted contraflow. And what that means is that leaving Savannah, if you're on 16 going west, all lanes go to west. Okay, you cannot get on 16 and come east. And I think it goes west up to about Dublin. I mean, it takes you pretty far down the road. So if you see those arms in the middle of the median, that are down, when those things open up, there are pathways for you to, if you're headed west in the westbound lane, you might be able to get over and go faster in the eastbound lane going west. So they worked hard on all of that. And if they get the construction done on 16 up here one of these days, that should be pretty good. Okay, so no, they don't tell you which route to take, but they've got some routes outlined. They tell you when you have to be out. And my advice is go as soon as you can once they tell you to go. They're going to talk about it for a while before they actually institute it. They'll tell you that the mayor will make a recommendation in 6 more hours of whether or not we go or stay. So you be getting yourself ready to go. So when he says it's mandatory and you have to be out by 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe you can be out before that and on your way. Okay. Well, my husband chose the lot where we now live out in Cooler. One of the reasons he chose it was it was right by 16. It was already across Savannah out there in Cooler where you could head on out of town if we had to go. And we've gone a couple of times and it's worked out very nicely. We've just gotten on the road and we've been able to get out ahead of a lot of the traffic that's out there. So know your zone, plan your route where you want to go. If you've got friends, neighbors that you're going to go be spending time with, get it lined up. We have a friend in West Georgia we go see. We tell her we're coming. She says, okay. And we said, and we'll go out to eat. You pick the place. We didn't want her cooking for us, but we've had a wonderful visit with her and we've avoided hurricanes that way. And so know your plan. That's important. Okay. Now, page 18, need assistance in evacuating, is very helpful for people who have absolutely no one to help them. No relatives, no neighbors. They haven't worked it out with anybody that's going to help them get out of town. And there are people in Savannah that are like that. They just have no one that's going to help them get going. And so this talks about what you do in a case like that, how you register, how you would get to one of the services in town where the CAT buses will take you out of town to an inland shelter somewhere. So if you're responsible for someone, please read that, share that information with them because it can be very helpful. In 1999 with Floyd, we lost several people who died because they got on really hot school buses to get out of town and overheated, and a lot of them were nursing home patients that were just very ill to start with. And they've worked really, really hard since that point to make it efficient and safe so that when you leave town, you can feel pretty comfortable you're going to a safe place and you'll be okay on your way home. The hurricane registry on page 20 is there for people, particularly those in wheelchairs, people who are tied to a lift to get them out of, what's that called? Hoya lift? Maybe, or they have to have the lift before they move. They're tied to a hospital bed, and they really need assistance in getting out. The community is prepared to help with that assistance, but you have to register, and you have to register ahead of time. Within 3 days of the evacuation, they say it's too late to register. We've already got resources committed, and we're trying to help other people. So if you know some of those folks, get them to register first thing in the morning. It's never too early. Yes, Diane.
One thing, medication is such a big deal, especially for people. And one of the things that bothers me is that you can't get your medication early. And, if you're coming to an end, you need to keep track of your medication and when you can get it, because if you run out of medication and you haven't been trying to pick it up yet, then you've got to stop. So,
Okay. We're going to talk about that when we get to the red folders here. That's a crucial point. Yes.
Just on that, I just think it's, we were getting medication for a family member. We were using Publix. And once you use Publix, you can pick up your prescription any Publix.
Okay.
So if you have, I don't know whether the other stores do it, like Kroger, so maybe if you have a place further west, you could probably, know where to call and tell them to forward it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about medications, and there are several of those places. Walmart does that. You got your CVS system, your Walgreens, those big names will help you considerably there. But if you're going to need that help because of medical reasons, please get registered for that immediately. Those of you who are evacuating with animals, you need to know how to travel with your animals. If you're going to a home of a friend and they know you've got a dog and you're bringing it, you're good. But if you're going to a shelter, shelters don't always allow you to bring the pets in. So you need to know. So there's information there on how to get yourself ready if you're traveling with a pet. And you don't want to leave your pets behind unattended. You don't know how many days you're going to be gone, so you need to take care of them too. So good information there on them, their medication needs. A lot of animals are on medication, so know what you need to do with them. These are the alerts. CEMA will send alerts to your phone. If you text CEMA at 77295, you can get signed up for them to do the CEMA alerts. We get them all the time for heavy rainstorm near your home, lightning found 8.2 miles from home, but they will constantly keep you up to date on the latest on any evacuation information. There is the 511 Georgia app for the travel information, and then you can Google in your app store, you can look for WSAV, WTOC, and get those apps there too. And then re-entry, they talk about that on page 23 on how you get your information of when you can come home. And then they've got a good article here about food safety. If you're away from home 3 or 4 days and your home has been without power, what do you do with all that food in the refrigerator, what you lost in the freezer, and all those kinds of things. So kind of get a plan ready for that. This may not be the time for you to stock up on a big meat sale and have a side of beef in your freezer. It may not be there worth eating when you get back. So kind of plan your food, particularly those perishables, that if the refrigerator does go out, we lost our refrigerator because it quit working on us and we had to start over. And we're talking ketchup and mustard and pickles and everything that we lost when we lost the refrigerator. It was all not worth keeping. So plan as best you can there with your food and do as much non-perishable as you can. There's information here on how to get your house ready for storms, shutters, gutters, and all that kind of stuff. And that's between you and your landlord and you and whoever's going to be taking care of your house. But particularly, you want to button down anything that could become a projectile that could be dangerous to someone else if the wind picks it up and throws it at someone. Okay. All right. Now I want to talk about these red folders. One of the things that makes evacuating difficult is trying to figure out what do you take with you when you go. And if you've not given that any pre-thought, it can be pretty overpowering. And so I've come up with a series of folders. It is an idea. It is not the best idea necessarily, but it's an idea of the kind of information that you need to have at hand. And if you take it with you and keep it secure with you, then you're way down the road when you get back home. The house is gone, you need insurance information, or refrigerator went out and you got to replace food. You're gone and you get sick while you're gone, and you need to know who your doctor is, and you need to find out a prescription, just all kinds of stuff. I've even added on here to take your 2024 tax returns with you. Because when you do your 2025, they're going to ask you about your adjusted gross income from 2024. And if those papers are gone with the wind, then you've got to figure out some way to come up with all that information. So if you take those with you, you've got that when you come. So let's start with the medical folder. Put these in any order that fit you. It doesn't make a bit of difference to me. And if you don't like this idea, see if you can pay attention to the information that I think you ought to be taking with you. And I would suggest one of those handheld file folder carriers that locks down and you just pick it up. If these papers are all together and you get the evacuation order, pick up the file folder and you're ready. You're gone. Okay, under the medical, have the name of your physicians and all the contact information. Prescription information. I left in 1999 and did not take, I wasn't on insulin at the point, but I didn't take my my diabetes medicine with me. I went to Mount Vernon, Georgia, to a friend's home. She took me to their pharmacist, and he gave me enough pills to get me back home in 3 or 4 days, and he was very gracious to do that. I don't forget my medicine now. I'll make sure that I take it with me. What is the prescription? Who do you get it from? What's the number? What's the name? What's the milligrams? Whatever it is that you take, just make sure you've got all that information with you. And take your prescriptions, not just the information. Take that bag of medicine with you. If you're just on a vitamin a day, you're in pretty good shape. If you're like me and you take a lot of pills twice a day, make sure you've got that information with you. Your health insurance policy information. Make sure you've got your cards, or you've got a copy of your cards for Medicare, any supplement information you have. If you're not that old and you're not on Medicare, what insurance are you using? Just make sure you've got that with you. Take your living will and a do not resuscitate order, if that's applicable to you. If you're getting out of the way of the storm, we're just hoping you're going to be safe and be able to come back. But we do know that these storms can be deadly. And the Texas floods will let you know that real fast. So if you don't have a living will, we've had a program about that. You need one. Decide whether or not you want to be resuscitated or not. We older folks are not so sure that we do anymore, but you make the right decision with your family, your attorney, whoever. Take a durable power of attorney for health care. Who makes decisions for you if you're not able to make those decisions for yourself? Life insurance policy information. And then in bold letters, your logins and your passwords for all applicable accounts. Please make sure you get your logins and your password. Cindy Lupton, who was one of our members here's husband, died I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, and he took care of everything. He paid the bills, he had the accounts, and he died suddenly. And Cindy did not have passwords for anything. So she had to discover how she could get them. And it's not easy to get the passwords of somebody who has died and left an account that was fully covered. So please make sure that you don't hide those passwords from your next of kin, your children, the people who need to know, at least need to know how to get to those. It goes with you. Okay, any other medical thing that should be included there? We talked about prescriptions. Anything else I might have missed? Because I'm just thinking of these off the top of my head when I'm putting these down.
Healthcare power.
It is. It's a durable power of attorney for healthcare. And that person only makes decisions about healthcare. They can't sell your home for you, for instance. Okay, so make sure you know that. I had durable power of attorney for insurance for my father because I handled all his insurance policies. Okay, so there's a difference there. Make sure you understand that. Good conversation with your attorney and your agents. Yes,
And any retirement accounts,
I've got that coming up.
have them specifically, you want to avoid probate. I know the judge isn't here,
Okay,
but you don't want him deciding your retirement
okay.
accounts.
Hang on to that. We're coming to that under another topic here. Okay, yes.
Medical vaccination.
Great idea, medical vaccination record. I want to write that down, but I don't have a pen or a pencil. For James, would you write that down, please? Vaccination records. Thank you. That's a very good thought there. Okay, in the legal area, your will and your power of attorney. Now, who does act for you in all matters if you're not able to act for yourself? Attorney contact information. Who are they? Where they're located? What's their website? What's their phone number? All the information that we can get to them. Now, this next one's funny. Obituary information. If you've written your obits, take it with you. Not that you're ready to use it, but it's got a lot of good information in it. Who you're from. It might have your next of kin, who you're leaving behind. A lot of good stuff there. James and I had pre-planned our funerals, and I took mine in and I had written my obituary, and we talked about how much it cost to put it in the paper. And he looked at mine and he said, well, this one would cost between $1,600 and $1,700. I said, I think I'll be redoing that obit, and it's going to say she lived and she died. So, but if you got that information, put it in there, take it along. If you have your funeral plans made, you'll have a policy with that. Take that along with you. Because when you come back, if somebody needs it and it's blown with the wind, again, you're going to have to go back to funeral home, which may also have gone with the wind, and figure all that out. So, yes.
If you have a plot, you might want to let people know about it.
That was written into our funeral plans. They want to know where you're going to be buried, and we had to give them the plot number, the cemetery, and all that kind of stuff. So yes, all that information is good to have. Any property deeds that you have, you might come back to a piece of land that's totally wiped away, but you got somebody need to tell somebody this was where my house was, and this is the piece of land that I own. So yes. Any rental or lease agreements that you have, take those with you. And again, your logins and your passwords for any and all accounts. Back. Okay, anything else legally that you can think of that should go there?
What's the thinking about things you have in safe deposits?
Well, we're getting the safe deposit boxes coming up. It's on down the list here. So.
Leave them or keep.
That bank vault is probably pretty secure, but the wind might pick it up and take it. But if you've got it in a safe deposit box, you at least need to know where that safe deposit box is and what its number is. And I'd take the key with me so that if the house is blown away, you've got the key that you can get back to it when you need to. So that is important. Okay, I'm coming to that too. So let's keep going. Under vital documents, emergency contact information. I have here. You see, you're gonna help me with this. Take one of these for every person in your household. Now, these others, it's been one for family. This is for every individual in your household. Everyone that lives under your roof. Yes.
What about, what do I say in your house?
Okay, I'm not hearing you till Lisa moves. No.
If you have a safe in your house.
I would, yes, that would be good ones to take with you. This code to your safe if you've got a safe in your home.
For your.
Yep. And we're going to talk about the household here in a minute too. That's coming on down the list too. Right now, documents. This emergency contact sheet that I'm giving you, I would like you to fill out and give it to us here at the church. And here's why. If you're here at church and you are on your own, you do not have any relatives here, you don't live with anyone, and you pass out in the middle of a service, and we have to call EMT to come, and this kind of thing happens, who do we call to let them know that you're ill and that you're on your way to Memorial Hospital or Candler or wherever it is that you're going? If we have this information here at the church, we can look it up and we can help. Sometimes if someone shows up at the ER and they may not know much about them, but somebody there might say, you know what, I know that lady goes to Wesley Monumental. They may call us and say, do you know Susie Q? And how do we get in touch with her relative? Now, this information will not be available to the church in general because this is confidential information. We understand that. But we do have a way in our church directory to put that information into our phones, and the staff will have access to that. So if Joanne passes out in the middle of the church and we're trying to find where we get her family notified, I can take my phone, go into Joanne's Facebook, her page, and there's a place in there where that will be. I can tap on it and I can say her son lives at here and this is the phone number. So it's just a means of how might we help you. Not that we're trying to pick up private information about you, but can we be of help? With the pledge from us that this is confidential information, we're not going to be selling your name, address, and telephone number to some insurance company and they're going to come and try to get you to buy something. But it's just a matter of us being able to take care of you if we need to. Now, at the bottom, it also asks for what is your hurricane plan. We don't need detailed point by point what you're going to do. What you would write down there, Susan Wallace, might be, I will be with my son, Richard. And that would say to us, okay, Susan's covered. Richard's going to be taking care of her. But Lisa, if your kids are out west somewhere on a skiing trip, and we don't know where you're going to be, it would be good for us to know my friend so-and-so at phone number such and such, I will be with them. Okay, so we know you've got a plan, but if we get some back saying, I have no plan, I have nowhere to go, then that says to us, we need to care for you. We need to help you. And I'll just let you know that when this task force on aging was working, several people on there said, we need to be able to take care of each other. This is our family here. And how do we know who needs to be cared for if we don't have some information? So they were really pushing this to please give us the information we need so that we can be of help to you. And we got a lot of people around here who really can help. But we also need to know that you need help. And if you write on there, I don't have a plan, I'm staying at my house, I'm liable to come knocking on your door and say, please don't do that. You got to get out of here. We can't let you just stay here and not be cared for. Okay? So if you'll fill that one out and get that back to me. And we want to spread these around throughout the church. We'll be working through Sunday school classes and different other places. that we can make that widely available to folks. And if you get it back in, it'll come to me and we'll get it in the system. Okay, vital documents, yes.
Put a picture of your passport.
You can take a picture, but I would carry your passport with you. You don't want to leave your passport at home because you don't want it to blow away on you. Sometimes you might take that picture and put it, you might think it belongs in 2 or 3 different places. That's okay. But make sure you're taking your passport with you and you keep that in your possession. The same thing with your Social Security card and your Medicaid card, Medicare card, health insurance cards, driver's license, those sort of things. So copies are good, but make sure you protect the original there too. Your birth certificate or a copy of it, and probably a lot of people don't have the original birth certificate anymore, but you might have a copy of your birth certificate, your marriage license, those kinds of documents that are pretty important that are tell who you are. Okay. And logins and passwords for all accounts as needed, including your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your computer, okay, all of those. If they're tied to a password in there, you need to make sure you know what they are. If you're not taking your computer with you, you might go to a library somewhere in Macon or west of there and want to get on and check on things and make sure that you can get in and out of those. It's important. Okay, then there's a section for contacts, name, address, and phone numbers of your next of kin or your close friends. You might have a personal address book that you can take and you have it marked in there. Do you know that you can put in your phone in front of your name the initials? What are they? You're shaking your head. ICE, and that's not the group that's going to throw you out of the country. It stands for in case of emergency. So if somebody picks up my phone, they will see, and it will be at the beginning, so it's going to be alphabetized under ICE, James Cubbage. This is in case of emergency. This is who we are supposed to call. That is really good information to put in your phone, both of your phones. ICE in case of. Okay, if you are putting it, if I go to my phone in my contacts, I have me listed as one of the people in my book. I have James listed. So in case of emergency, I want him to call James. So I will edit that contact, and in front of James, his first name now becomes Ice James. Okay. Or Ice Richard or Ice David. So that if a first responder is looking at your phone and they go to your contact list and they type in ICE, it will bring up that person. Immediately they know who it is that they're to call. Because probably the address is there, the telephone numbers there. So that's really good information to add that to your telephone, to your contact list. Okay. Logins and passwords for all accounts as needed. Okay, don't forget those. Okay, household. An inventory of what's in your house. If you're going to file a claim with your insurance company, they're going to want to know what you had in your house. And believe me, if you're going to sit there after the fact and try to figure out every dish you had and all that kind of stuff, it is going to take forever for you to get any kind of results from your insurance company. My suggestion is that you take your phone, you put it on video, and you walk around your house. And you video your bedroom, see your furniture. You open your closet, you walk into the closet, you see your clothes and your shoes. Pull out the dresser drawer. Pull out your jewelry drawer. So what you got? Then go to the next room and the next room until you've gone through your entire house. And then you have a video record of what's in your house. Or you can take the camera on your phone and go room to room and you shoot a picture of the bed and the dresser and the closet. You can do that too. Either one of those would work. The written one is the one that's going to be the longest involved to do, but you can do that. But if you've got the phone that's got the ability to video, then that makes your job a lot easier. If you've got a video camera, use that, whatever. But you need that inventory could come in handy. I mentioned your homeowners and your rental insurance and personal property insurance here again. You may have that in another category, but that's okay. The agent, your policy numbers, the phone numbers that you would call to get in touch with them, your car insurance. You come back and a tree's fallen on one of your cars that you left parked at home. You've got to have that information. Again, logins and passwords for all accounts as you may need. Anything else about your household? The building, the contents that are in it. Yes, Peter.
Just a little thing prior to bad weather. If there's your neighbor's tree is hanging over your fence, you can cut it. Cut that portion off.
Okay.
Now, if it falls on you during the storm, he's not responsible.
If it falls during the storm, he's not responsible.
Now, if it comes over your fence and falls, he's not responsible for it.
Okay. But if it falls in good clear weather, he is
But you
responsible.
can take it down during nice clear weather if you want. If you look at it, it doesn't look good.
Okay. Check out your property. Look for the trees that might be a danger to your property or person or somebody else or whatever's going on there. Okay, thank you. Okay, this next one is important. I think it's the financial area of what you're looking for. And again, you need to be aware of what you own and where it is. Your banking, institution, account numbers, telephone numbers. Where is it? How do I get to it? How do I prove that it's mine, that it was there? Talk about banking, your investment accounts, anything that you have there. Credit card information. You really don't want to lose a credit card in the middle of an evacuation. Somebody find that, they may just do all they can with your credit card to help them survive as they're going along. Retirement account information. Now, Aaron, you wanted to say something about retirement account.
Yeah, so if you have a 401k or any retirement account, really, you have an option to set a beneficiary within that actual account. Do that. Don't just say, oh, I have it all in my will to go to my spouse or to my children. That will be looked at first before your will. And your will can be contested. They can't contest what your account says. Your account will go to that person that you list. So if you have a beneficiary in your account, such as your spouse, and you have children, also add your children there, because if your spouse precedes you in death, it'll then automatically fall to your children. But you don't want that 401k account or whatever account it is to go through probate, because there's going to be fees associated with it. It's going to get tied up in the process. If you want that money to flow out immediately, that's the way to handle it. So that same goes with any life insurance benefits. You should have beneficiaries listed. If you don't, make sure you do. Don't just rely on your will or probate to handle it for you. I can't speak for the judge, but I know the judge makes that recommendation to take it off the judge's plate. And so that way there's less fighting about something that's very clear and you bypass the whole probate process. So that can be very important, particularly if your family's trying to bury you. They're going to get that money and access to that money instantly without having to go through the probate process, which could be months or even years.
Thank you, Aaron. And just to repeat for our recording here, he is talking about your retirement insurance policies, those sort of accounts that a beneficiary can be attached to. Please do that. Do it within that document, that policy, and then it is automatic and it's not contestable at that rate. Take Peter.
Yeah, you need to think about cash, because hurricanes bring power failures.
Yep.
And you won't be able to access some money. Make sure that if you have an in-town bank that you love, you also are able to get
Access to that.
some out of the area.
Right.
And also,
Well, it doesn't really have to do with evacuation, but make sure that both spouses are on. You have Comcast or you have your phone listed, make sure both people are on there. If somebody dies, you go, well, we don't know who you are, we can't give you any information.
Yeah.
They won't be able to.
Okay, so the feasibility of having both names on the account makes it And it should be an either or kind of situation, not both and. Okay, so it's James or Carolyn. Okay.
Check it.
Okay, that's good information. And we know that when around here, particularly if the wind blows the wrong direction, the power goes out on some of the islands here. And if you have no power, ATMs will not do you any good. So you need to have some cash stashed away that you can operate on until you can get to other money. So thank you. Those are good suggestions too. I would also suggest that you take with you a list of your current indebtedness. Do you owe in credit card? That way, when you're out of town and it's time to pay a bill, you know who you owe and how to get money to them. Now, a lot of them, we pay those on lines now, so you need to know how to log into your account and how to transfer money in. And if the power is back up, your banks should be able to transfer money like they would do otherwise. But it would be good for you to know who you owe money to. And then that would make you a good, honest citizen when you're trying to keep your accounts up to date rather than just saying, oh, well, it all blew away. I guess I don't know anybody, when actually you really do. And take with you the old website, irs.gov. You're going to owe money regardless. Now, they may give you a 6-month extension period because you have to go back and find the 2024 papers before you can file the 2025 and that sort of thing. So that would be a good one to have with you. And somewhere I did write down, and maybe I'm looking at an old copy here, to take your 2024 IRS with you. Here.
It might be a good idea to ask your CPA or your financial advisor what they do. Check the information.
Okay. If you have a CPA, financial advisor, have some good conversations with them and have them now before something's threatening to come down upon us so that you're informed if you have to get out. Okay. All right. That's my suggestion of putting some folders together. And then if you know where those red folders are, even if you file them in different places at your house, if you're getting ready to evacuate, you can look for red folders and you grab 6 of them and you pretty much got a good grip on the information you might have to have if you come back and you've got a house that has been blown away and you don't have all the paperwork that you need. Yeah.
Do it one time and keep everything together. You'll be in good shape when it happens.
That's true.
Except when you pick that through the year, when you need them.
If you take something out, update it, replace it, yeah. And we all know that that's not easy to do, to keep everything up to date, that's cleared off, everything filed where it's supposed to be. And I guarantee you go to my house right now, James Cubbage would be absolutely prepared to go. Carolyn Cubbage would not. Okay. So, yeah. Well, this is a job that's asking for a lot. It really is. And not everything on this list may apply to you. And if you leave with half of it, you're going to be better off than you leave with none of it.
My parents have their executive. What I did everything that they needed here.
Mhm.
Did doctors and all that. But when they passed, because he was out of state, it was amazing what he could not, even though he, we had all the paperwork and his executor and everything, but the fight that he had to get through, it took a year and a half for my mom's stuff to go through. And it was letter after letter, one of these, letter after letter after letter he would write to try to get about different accounts. And my dad had left everything we thought in perfect condition, but it was amazing for us. It's just how she took us was. So dealing with people from out of state or who had property out of state or people like that, it's definitely different.
Yeah. It's a job. Responsibility for someone else really is, it's a big job. All right. Anyone think of anything that might be helpful to go in a folder, a file, box, whatever, something like this? Now, please feel free to take a set of folders for anyone you want to share them with. The whole point is to help people, not for me to just have 50 of them piled up in my office. And these are easy to do. I can make more when we use what we've got. So please feel free to help other people along the way. That would be very careful. And if you can fill out that emergency contact sheet, you want to leave it today, that's fine, or at least get it back to me as soon as you can, just so we would be prepared to help you in case you need our help along the way. Just to let you know that this information is available in the office. Please feel free to call me anytime, send me a text, email, whatever, and I'll try my best to be responsive and help you with whatever you need.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Okay. Well, you're welcome. I hope it's helpful. One of the things we're really attempting to do, and several of you are on that committee, this task force on aging is working very, very diligently, particularly to make us responsive, help us to be better responsive to the senior adults in our community, but not just them, but to each other, others too. So if there's something that you find that you need or something you think would be helpful for the rest of our community, let us know. Over 50% of our congregation is 60 or above. So we're getting there, friends. Grateful for every day. So, okay, Peter, one more.
Yeah, one of the latter. Moving on, if you go to a home or airplane, Buckingham South is the only one that hurricane, and when it built it, made a hurricane.
Oh, really?
Yes. The other places,
If you get to the point of needing to place a friend or a relative in a care facility, have these conversations with them too. Who's responsible for them in a hurricane evacuation? Will they be taking care of all their residents, and do they have a partnership with an inland nursing home somewhere where they go from here to there? Are they expecting you to come get them? Just make sure you ask those questions so that you know what you're responsible for if that's the situation for you. At a time like that, you don't want surprises. You can handle a lot if you know what you're looking for. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. And please tell folks we think this is going to be up on our YouTube channel. So if they want to sit and watch it, they can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron, very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. There you go.
Oh,